Okay, so in this video, I'm going to do a deep dive into the September 2024 end of month results for Archie Democo. This will give you a front row seat as I try and bring in all the information, the P&L, the time and billing, the budget, the forecast, the balance sheet, all of those elements which are needed to update the live business model as part of Profit Metrics. So sit back, grab a cuppa, enjoy the video as I go through and explain how Archie Demo is going and how the future's looking. Okay, September 30th has rolled around and now it's time to wrap up these accounts. Overlaying the Profit Metrics framework provides a structured and strategic way of working out what's going on so you don't miss anything. And it enables us to answer two very important questions. Are we on track to meet our target? And if not, why aren't things going to plan? But before we can get to that point, before we can even start our analysis, there's a bunch of things that we need to check and a bunch of work that we need to do in the background to be satisfied that our results have accounting integrity. And accounting integrity is important because you can't work out if you're on track if you don't know where you are now. So the first thing is to make sure that the balance sheet is bulletproof before we can be confident in any of the numbers. So we'd have to go through and prove up or substantiate all of those balances in a balance sheet reconciliation file. The other probably key part of the balance sheet review would be looking through the debtors report and looking for any stale or doubtful debts that are going to impact our cash flow down the track. So once we're happy with the balance sheet, there's a bunch of reports we can go through to understand the performance in the P&L. We want to compare our actual results for the month against the budget for the month. We want to understand what those variances are and if there is an impact on the full year forecast from that. And we start to understand these results a lot better when we're looking at them in the context of all of the KPIs that we monitor, things like utilisation, multiplier, revenue per person. And we'll have to go through our time and billing, our job costing to identify any WIP, and we need to put that into our accounts as a reversing journal at the end of the month. We get to the point where once we're comfortable with the results, we understand them, we then need to update our live financial model and roll it forward before we can use it as a strategic tool. So we need to feed the end of month actual results into that forecast model. They'll help us understand the full year impact. We need to compare our detailed revenue pipeline forecast against our three-way forecast that deals with the capacity side of the business and understand if there's any gaps there or if it looks likely that we can actually achieve our target. And ultimately, we're doing this because we want to understand the impact of everything on our cash flow. And once we've done all of this, it will put us in a great position to have an insightful strategic discussion about our future goals and decide what we're going to do to keep things on track. Now, believe me, it's really easy to fly off on tangents and go down rabbit holes chasing after small stuff. Before we do that, before we immerse ourselves in that sort of detail, we need to keep it high level or summary level first. And remember also, this isn't an exercise in how to do variance analysis, right? There's not much value in me trying to identify why we're using more pens and pencils or more imaginary pens and pencils than I originally budgeted for. It's about understanding what's happened and how that affects our long-term goals. To make it a bit easier, I've colour-coded the different elements. So pink's actual, green's forecast, orange is budget, and the purple is for the revised budget. So the first of these summary level reports is the actual versus budget for the month. And we can see that we're almost bang on target for the month and actually year to date. We can go through and then start understanding, in terms of sales, direct costs, overheads, what's over. But that first sweep through, it's, how'd we go against budget? And we're almost bang on. Well, what's that looking like for the full year? So we go to this one and we say, okay, the full year now we're looking at 5.034 million in turnover against the 5.016. So we're up a little bit. And the net profit's up a little bit, but it's almost bang on. So this stage of the year, after 3 actual months, Archie Demo is bang on target to reach its full year goal. We want to go back in and do some more detailed level variance, we can do that by each of these categories in fixed and variable costs. And you start to understand, are these timing issues related to, we've budgeted over the 12 months, but we've spent more in the first few months. Have we missed stuff out? Has something changed? So that's the sort of lens we're looking at this through. And when we understand the reasons for those variances, we feed them into the rest of year and make those adjustments through there. So let's assume that's all been done, and the full year is saying that we're basically, on track to finish just slightly ahead of what we originally thought. Now we segue across into the time and billing. This is the project summary for the month, and we can see here our $401,000 billing, and we've also got our WIP figure there. So we've reversed out last month's WIP. We've put in the new WIP. The red ones are where we've earned money but we haven't yet billed, and the blue one for Bunyip Hills is that $78,000 represents forward billing that we haven't yet earned, but they net off to the 67. And we can track that back into all of the timesheets. So we've got all of these people allocating their time to the jobs up the top there, and the costs feeding through, and that's coming through into our job costing summary for the month. Okay, so by now we've established that we're on track year to date against our budget, and our full year's looking like we're going to finish slightly better than budget on a capacity basis. There's just a couple of things we need to do to sort of finalise understanding what's going on. If we look at our performance KPIs, a couple of the big numbers are multiplier and utilisation. So for the month itself, our multiplier was down to 2.56, but the utilisation was almost 69, so it was quite a bit more. What it's indicating is that there was a fair bit of unpaid overtime that's kept us on track. That's important to know. We've ironed out the problem that we had with the overheads, and the rest of the year is looking pretty good. Probably the most important thing to do now is to go back into our detailed revenue pipeline forecast and do that comparison so that we can see if there's enough jobs feeding through to feed the production engine, and we want to understand what the risks are and whether or not we're being too optimistic. Okay, so our capacity forecast is showing 5.034. The sales pipeline is weighted average 5.16 million, so 150,000 better in the sales pipeline, which would mean the rest of the year coming in at about 2.9. We've budgeted for 2.8. Now, I'm not comfortable to make that or to try and effectively bank that extra revenue yet, the 150. I think we'll wait and see what happens. If we finish up meeting budget, we'll be happy. So I don't think we should be sticking our neck out at this stage. But it's important to understand what the risks are in here. So if we go back to our secured one, Alice Road starting October. Last month we had it starting October as well. And in fact, in September, on the job costing report, we did $78,000 worth of work in advance of the actual start date. $87,000 worth of work we've earned. So at this stage, Alice Road is on track to start first of the month. The contract signed, away we go. In interiors now, we've got Tech Bros that's started. That's a real job. But again, the big ones are in unsecured. The Hillsdale project is dead. We didn't win it. And High Street Yoga, we've pushed that out 2 months. We're in there at a 50% chance of winning it. And we should find out about that, any day. So that's it for the end of month financial wrap up for Archie Demo for September 2024. Things are looking pretty good, but there's still quite a bit of uncertainty, particularly around that high street yoga. We're sweating on that starting, and a big relief to be starting Alice Road on the 1st of October. So if you've enjoyed the video, hit the subscribe button. There's plenty more updates coming for Archie Demo Co over the next few months. And if you'd like any more information, jump on our website, www.custodianbackoffice.com. And there you'll find plenty of free resources that will get you started towards better financial management in your architecture firm. I'm David Dillon from Custodian Back Office. Thanks very much for watching.